Everyone, welcome to this episode of the Soulful Eclectic. I am none other than your host, Dr. Diana Collins, and I want to welcome you back to today's episode. So, if this is the first time you're joining us, well, welcome. Thank you for taking the time out to join us on today's episode. But if you are returning, and this is season 10, episode 2. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. And thank you, thank you, thank you for taking the time out to be here with us at the Soulful Eclectic. I will just reintroduce myself, whatever, right? I am Dr. Diana Collins. And as always, I am very thankful for inviting you all into this space. And I thank you for inviting me into your space, because by turning on the TV, putting it on the radio, or listening to one of the podcasts on your app, you're inviting me into your space as well. So I am grateful and I thank you for inviting me into your space. I want to thank, before I begin, all of my sponsors. First want to thank Divine Nubian Essentials, loving the skin that I am in. Today I did not do a makeup day, so this is my skin. I'm proud of it. I am. And it's due to Divine Nubian Essentials. I don't use anything else on my skin but Divine Nubian Essentials. But I did cheat a little bit and put some, what do you call that stuff? Concealer under my eyes, because unfortunately I do have dark circles because I do keep late nights. Back in the day, working 12-hour shifts, swing shift. I work days, nights, whatever was available. So therefore, yes, I have developed some dark circles around my eyes. So I did put a little concealer around the eyes, but the rest of me is me. So thank you, to Divine Nubian Essentials for allowing me to be my authentic self as much as I can be in my own skin. So thank you. Thank you to Collins Education Resource Management for just being the space for those who needs assistance with their education in healthcare, and just whatever. Why is it that my brain is not working? Not only is Collins Education Resource Management a resource for those in healthcare education, but they're also a resource for those in the community. They allow for speaking engagements, lectures, and workshops in different venues, so that we can also encourage and educate the community as well as those in the classroom. So thank you to Collins Education Resource Management. And also, thank you to our resident author, Miss Reggie Dupree. If you have not read Return to Hoodoo, Hoodoo Heaven, and Mystical Midlife Mate, please do so. She did an amazing job being all-inclusive in her writing and in her character building and storytelling. So I appreciate her for that. And so thank you to Miss Reggie Dupree. And hopefully she will be back this semester. There's the teacher in me, right? This season, she will be back. So thank you, Reggie, for being our resident author. Who else is our I think those are all our sponsors. I think so. Oh, no, our home, WUBI Ubiquity Radio and TV. How can I forget that? So thank you to WUBI Ubiquity Radio and TV for offering additional space for me to showcase our podcast, as well as having it on TV. We have it on the radio. I'm telling you, this brain fog and menopause is real. So thank you to WUBI Ubiquity Radio and TV. And it's not Whoopi, okay? It's WUBI. That's it. Please don't try to make it something it's not. I appreciate Tubi, but we are not Whoopi, okay? Thank you so much for that. So thank you again. So today, this conversation stems from some things, right? And I've been grappling with this for about 2 weeks now and having this conversation. This conversation came up again um, a couple of days ago, and so it's been living rent free in my brain. So I thought today, you know what? Let me do a podcast about it, and let's talk about this. So today's conversation is definitely one that I believe that every single one of us can relate to in some respect. So I want you to sit and think for a minute. Has anyone ever said to you, you let them take you out of your character, right? You want to fight people. Or maybe or maybe you've said it about yourself, right? Or maybe you've said, that wasn't me. I don't even know why I reacted like that. Or I usually don't respond that way, right? Right. Because we've all been there. There's been something that has been said or something that has been done, and your reaction to it was typically not something you would react to, or you reacted in a way that you typically would not react. With that, yes, please, if you have hydration, I live in Arizona, I need water um, quite often. But if you have reacted and have said these things, or someone has said these things to you, do not fret. You are human. We've all been there, right? And the question isn't whether it happens. The question is, what do you do after it happens, right? So that's more of the question. So we're going to talk a little bit about today. And the reason why, like I said, I bring it up is because this is something that I had to deal with a couple of weeks. Now, I did not let it take me out of my character in respect that I was overtly outward spoken. Because if you don't know, I will share with you, I am born and raised in New York. I can quickly switch that 0 to 100 and be that rah person, um, and be ready to stomp a mud hole in you, right? Don't get it twisted. I still own a pair of Tims, and I was definitely stomp a mud hole all of you. So don't take my kindness and my empathy for weakness, because that's where you're going to get it all messed up, right? So you want to find out, what is it? I'm not going to say the F word because I'm trying really hard not to swear so much, but you're going to mess around and find out where it is that I come from. Now, what is troubling is because even in those days, I wasn't really a big fighter. I've had a couple of scraps every now and again. Yeah, and I probably got my ass beat a couple of times. All right. I'm human. I'm not telling you I'm out here being Layla Ali or something like that. No, but I can definitely hold my own and scrap to the best of them. And believe me, I've gotten much better as I've aged over the years. So don't test the waters is pretty much what I'm saying. Because my hands have gotten much better. Just saying. But the question, like I said, is not whether it happens, is what we do with it after it happens. And we all have a set of decorum, and as I said that day, God is still working on me. He ain't done yet. And I still have work to do. But for me, I think it's more or less that it wasn't out of character. I don't like to say, I'm trying to change that verbiage, because I don't like to say it's out of character, because I'm like, it kind of is my character, because it's there. And if it comes out, then it lives there. It's just a part of me that I choose not to let be in the forefront, but let it be known it is there. So what does it mean to be taken out of your character? Let's talk about that for a minute. So I think people often misunderstand this phrase. I could be wrong. It is one of those things that it's all about perception, right? So I think people often do misunderstand this phrase. Being taken out of your character doesn't necessarily mean yelling, right? because I did not yell. I was not disrespectful to anyone. I just allow something to take up space in my mind and in my body unnecessarily. And it doesn't mean that you were arguing with sometime, with anyone, but sometimes it does look like silence when your spirit wants to speak. So for me, that's pretty much where I was, right? I just got silent for a little bit. Silent in the respect where I didn't outwardly speak to that person who was agitating my spirit, but the person who was in my vicinity, who I felt was and feel is a safe space, I allowed myself to vocalize it, because one of those things, if you let it sit within your soul, it will fester and again take up space where it's not needed, right? So I verbally let it loose to somebody, like I said again, is a safe space. But again, I still felt like it was out of my character. So as I was saying, it doesn't always have to be mean arguing or yelling, but it cannot always look, it can also look like silence when your spirit wants to speak. It looks like people pleasing because you're afraid of disappointing someone, right? Um, it can also look like abandoning your values to fit someone else's expectations and narrative. Yeah, I think that'll work too. Um, and sometimes it's being out of character and just saying yes as well. All right. When your soul and everything in you is saying, no, don't do it, don't do it, don't, whatever. And it's out of your character to say yes. So it always doesn't have to be someone getting, rah rah, whatever. In my case, yes, it was very much me ready to stomp a mud hole in somebody. Um, so I'm gonna say for me, that's what it was. But sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just, it can look like those things, right? It can look like um being quiet, saying yes, and all these things. And when you just want to just say no, leave me the hell alone, whatever. Sometimes it's becoming impatient with people. That it could be that too, becoming impatient with people that you love because you've been ignored. You've have ignored your own needs for so long. So like that dam finally breaking when it's like, okay, enough. No, I'm not doing it. No, go somewhere. No, leave me alone. Then it does look like you're getting out of your character just a little bit, But and honestly, it's just you've had enough, right? Um, the other way it can also look is sometimes it can look like you're shrinking yourself as well. And then sometimes it just looks like becoming someone you don't even recognize, right? So these pieces that these past couple of weeks that I have been dealing with, and not so much on a negative space. Like I really try not to be super negative about it, right? Because I you can get there really quickly. But I think I just really, it just stirred up something, I want to say primal, but I just wanted to really stomp a mud hole. Like I just, in my mind, I'm like, Jesus, I'm just going to ask you not to put that person in my space right now. Like, I don't want to engage. I don't want, if they ask me anything, if they say boo or excuse me, I think it would have just, right, ignited. So, I did say that prayer silently, and God listened and kept that person away from me. Um, but I said I can't be in that space with that person again. Um, and who knows, that person, I may disrupt their peace, because truth be known, not everyone really cares for me. Not everyone cares for you, right? They may tolerate you, they may be respectful in your presence, but not everyone wishes you well. And that's okay, because sometimes I don't want everybody to wish me well, because they don't mean well. And then there's that. But anyways, so yes, so those are some of the things, ways that it can look like coming out of your character. And I want to say again, to me, and this is just really my own opinion, I don't think it's coming out of character. I think it's, like I said, a part of a piece of your character that you're choosing not to show people, because it's not necessary. um and you don't need to show people any of that. I guess that's what it is, and I think that's where I was. um and because when you get taken out of your character, or you allow yourself to go into that space and you stay in that space, it really does lower your vibration. And I'm sorry, I choose not to lower my vibration for anyone. So I think what I decided to do, what this is what I decided to do, was just to bring it out to the masses and have a conversation about it. Like, what do you do when someone takes you out of your character? How do you bring yourself back into your space? Uh, I know for me, I do some heavy meditation. I have my singing bowl. I use vibrational sounds like the megahertz, 528 megahertz, 888 megahertz, 1111 megahertz. I use the vibrational sounds to kind of recenter me. I definitely leave it up to God, the universe, our ancestors, and I asked for their guidance in how to navigate these troubled waters that I'm currently in the midst of. And it's only for a short time, because again, I don't have to be in the presence of this person every day. I don't work with this person every day. So, prayerfully, I don't see them unless there's some community thing that I'm a part of, that they so happen to be a part of as well. So therefore, I don't have to regularly see this person. So yeah, so that is helpful. So taking yourself out of that equation of being in the presence of what is triggering you, or who has the person who is known to take you out of your character, getting, just not being in their space. And when you're in their space, kind of center yourself and just take their space with a grain of salt, because uh I don't want to continuously add value to who they are in my life, because honestly, they hold no value to me. They really don't. Um, so I have to remember that. And also, the thing is, too, I have to remember not to be so negative, because in my words and how I speak about the person, because I can, whew, I could be reckless with my words. I know I can. So I have to be mindful that words are power, and it will come back in some shape or form. And I don't need that to come back at me. So therefore, I try to be mindful in how I navigate speaking on that person. Now, did I say it doesn't come out? Nah, that's not true. I'd be lying if I told you I didn't say anything derogatory, because I know I did. I know I did, and probably dropped a few F bombs with it. Because I know me. I, mm, it just is what it is. Okay. So there's that. But yeah, so how are you navigating that space? What do you do to get yourself back to centered? Think about that for a minute. And how do you regulate it yourself when you become someone you don't even recognize? Yeah, I think that's it. yeah, a good place to pause for a moment. Um, yeah. Hey everyone, Dr. Diana Collins here with the Soulful Eclectic, a podcast about being your authentic self and maintaining your health and wellness. Brought to you by Divine Nubian Essentials, Love the Skin You're In, and also Collins Education Resource Management, where healthcare education is our passion. If you're looking for a new read, check out our friend Reggie Dupree in Hoodoo Heaven, Return to Hoodoo, and Mystical Midlife Mate, because everything is happening in Hoodoo. Brought to you by WUBI Ubiquity Radio and TV. If you have not downloaded your app on Roku or Apple or Google Play, do so right away. The Soulful Eclectic can be found every Friday night, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on all your podcast streaming platforms, WUBI Ubiquity Radio and TV. So, see you soon. Namaste. Hey guys, thank you for taking a little bio break because I did need to take a big gulp of water because I needed it. Um, so here's the other the lesson in things, right? Because with everything that we encounter, I try to find the lesson in it and the positive in it and ways to be better. Because to me, I think the situation happens so one that I can be aware of the person and believe my intuition because my gut did not like my spirit didn't like that person's spirit. It never had from the day we met. Um, and I've been in that person's space probably 3 times. This is probably the fourth time I've been in that person's space. Now the third time was a little I didn't have to engage with that person. I just said hello. Um, but this last time, I'm going to say, yeah, it was no bueno. No, no bueno. So, we're just going to do our best, but to navigate those spaces. And like I said, I can be cordial. I've been in people's spaces where you would never know that my spirit disturbs their spirit. It's like it's the way I like to see it because I'm okay. I'm okay. The lesson in it, right? So here's the lesson. Triggers are teachers. So I've learned this over the years and still learning some things. So our triggers are teachers. I People don't create our triggers. They're there. They're experiences that we've encountered that either give us a negative or positive result. Usually it's considered a trigger when it's a negative, but I think triggers for me are also positive because I have some positive triggers. I'm like, oh, I'll encounter a smell or a type of food, or a memory will cross me. Now sometimes I'll get a fit of laughter. I'm like, and if you believe in your intuition and the spirit guides and things like that, sometimes that's not your emotion you're feeling, especially when it's unwarranted. But some of your triggers can be positive. So just gonna share that they don't always have to be negative. And I know people have been known to weaponize triggers, saying that, oh, that triggered me, or that person's what that person said triggered me. So sometimes people are weaponizing that too. So just I don't want to say people are doing it all the time, but there are some people who may have some narcissistic tendencies who may use it as a weapon. So I've seen it used as a weapon. So I'm just saying. So people don't create our triggers, but they help them become evident. They reveal them. And unfortunately, that's one of the hard truths of the matter because it's easier to say they made me angry. They made me react. They made me lose control, right? But if we're being honest, sometimes people simply expose the spaces or the spaces and the places in us that still need healing. Like I said, God's not done with me yet. So that may be something that still needs a little bit of healing. Like I should not have been able to allow that person to take me to that space where I want to stomp a mud hole in them, right? But it did. So where was I in that space? That that was my reaction to it, right? So sometimes people simply just expose places and spaces within us that still need a little healing. So that doesn't excuse their behavior. Absolutely not. Let me just say that. That is not excusing the behavior one iota. Okay? It's not. It's just okay because I allow their bad behavior to evoke a response out of me. So that's so, but it does not excuse their behavior. Um, so having healthy boundaries matter. Having respect matters. Definitely I'm all about accountability. I am accountable to my behaviors, and I was a little petty in my response. So with that, again, I allowed that person and their bad behavior to allow me to react the way that I did. And in retrospect, when I think about it and reflect about the things that transpired, um, I allowed that person to take me there, and I shouldn't. So again, that's a part of me that still probably needs a little bit of healing going on there. So that's me taking accountability for that, right? I'm responsible for the way I reacted. Um, but also our healing matters. So you know, there's that too. And our responses belong to us. My response belongs to me. I own my response, just as that person owns what they did to help trigger my response. Plain and simple. So this conversation that we are having is part of my personal reflection. So when doing a personal reflection, I I do it as a nurse practitioner. I do it as an educator, right? So as a nurse practitioner, I reflect on the day on how I interacted with my patients, how I interacted with my colleagues, which are my nurses or other providers like the consultants or whatever, right? I reflect on those. How could I have been better in my conversations with those individuals? How could I have been better in my reactions? Did I react or overreact or underreact to certain situations? There's those reflections, right? I reflect as an educator, as I teach nursing. I deal with different personalities all the time. And so, was my reaction and my interaction with them respectful? Did I respect them? Did I respect their boundaries? Did I listen to them? They give me feedback. We're closing a semester, right? So we get student feedback. How did I receive their feedback, right? So taking that feedback, I reflect on that as well. I reflect as a business owner. Who did I encounter? Did I give them a fair deal? Did I give them the information that they needed? As a wife, did I communicate with my husband well? Did I? I shouldn't have maybe had said that to, kind of thing. Um, did I? As a mother, I reflect all the time, right? I still reflect about things when they were children and they are adults in their 30s and so forth. So I reflect on them too as a mother, as a grandmother. Um, I, I I think it's hard not to reflect as a person who wears so many hats. Talking about the event we had last week, right? The hats we wear. As a person who wears so many hats, I'm constantly reflecting, and this is what leads us to this conversation. Was because I was reflecting on my response to this individual and my continued response to this individual. Because again, this is living rent free in my brain. So I've experienced moments where I felt pulled in every direction, and I'm sure many of us have, right? You felt like you've been in this space, and your mind is all over the place. So moments where, to the point where you feel, oh my gosh, utterly emotionally exhausted, right? We reflect on those. We reflect on moments where I wanted to respond with frustration instead of wisdom in certain situations. And I'm like, I could have said that differently, right? So sometimes in that reflection, I choose not to respond to situations because of the fact that I know that in that time frame, if I respond, um, my response won't be, it'd be more out of frustration than that wisdom. So during those reflective periods and all those different hats, I've had to ask myself, is this who I am? Or is this how I feel right now? All right, so because honestly, those are two different things. Feelings are very temporary. All right, they ebb and flow. Feelings are temporary. Character is intentional, right? So I've learned that protecting my peace, and again, people do weaponize that as well. Okay, just to be fair, people weaponize protecting my peace, but I've learned that in protecting my peace, it always doesn't mean that you're winning the argument. No, sometimes protecting my peace means I'm just going to walk away. And at one point, at that time, I did walk away. I walked away to my eternal safe space, which is my husband. He provides me that secured, truly secured safe space where I know I can say whatever and it's not going anywhere. So I did. I walked away and I walked to my safe space. Um, and sometimes it just means saying, we're just not going to resolve this today. So we're going to leave it alone. Sometimes it looks like it means apologizing, and that could be taking accountability. I'm not saying apologizing I'm trying to learn how to stop saying I'm sorry, because there's nothing about me that is sorry, in that respect. So I try to change it to actually say I apologize, for whatever. Also, I have to be mindful of how I apologize because I am the queen in some respects of saying I apologize that you perceive what I said to be X, Y, Z. That was sometimes that can be condescending. So I have to be mindful of how I say things. But apologizing and mean it. If you don't mean it, please don't apologize. It's nothing like an empty apology that really can trigger somebody as well. The other thing is sometimes it means just forgiving yourself for having a human moment. And right now, after all the reflection for this past week, that is where I am right now. I'm forgiving myself for having a human moment because it definitely was a human moment. Okay. I am human, and yeah, I did a thing. So we have that. um, so yeah, a human moment. Yeah, forgive me for having a human moment. I know I got issues. Actually, no, I don't have issues. Let me take that away. I don't have issues. I'm well put together. I just again had a human moment. So yeah. Yeah. Hey everyone, Dr. Diana Collins here with the Soulful Eclectic, a podcast about being your authentic self and maintaining your health and wellness, brought to you by Divine Nubian Essentials, Love the Skin You're In, and also Collins Education Resource Management, where healthcare education is our passion. If you're looking for a new read, check out our friend Reggie Dupree in Hoodoo Heaven, Return to Hoodoo, and Mystical Midlife Mate, because everything is happening in Hoodoo, brought to you by WUBI Ubiquity Radio and TV. If you have not downloaded your app on Roku or Apple or Google Play, do so right away. The Soulful Eclectic can be found every Friday night, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on all your podcast streaming platforms, WUBI Ubiquity Radio and TV. So, see you soon. Namaste. Hey guys, I just needed a moment again to drink some water. I'm gonna drink water and mind my business. That's my goal today. Drink water and mind my business. So I left off with sometimes it just means forgiving yourself and for having a human moment, because yes, it was a human moment. I guess now it's like, what does it look like for you? What does it look like for me? Right? Maybe being taken out of your character looks like reacting instead of responding, because sometimes we are listening to respond, not to understand. So there's that. So, or we're listening to react, and respond. Yeah, responding, right? Here's where I am holding on to resentment. I'm gonna just be honest. I'm just gonna be honest. I am holding on to some resentment. I think after today in this conversation, I am resigned to really let it go. I am going to go ahead and resage myself to release all that negative energy, and I'm gonna light some Palo Santo to invite positive energy into my space, because I do need to let this go. Because yeah, it should not have to hold space, because right now, like I said, I'm holding on to resentment. This person was very ugly and was unnecessary in a positive space that we were in, and it just made um it just made me not enjoy what I was doing in the way I should have been enjoying it. So I'm going to release this resentment today. I did my meditative walk this morning, and so I'm releasing it this evening. Yes, holding on to resentment. Yes, that's what it looks like for me right now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. The other thing is using words you can't take back. Now, this one I work really, really hard, and I've gotten, I'm going to say, probably like 85% better at this. So I don't say words to the individual that I cannot take back. Now, I will say it in my safe space. I will say some pretty harsh words and harsh things in my safe space, but I don't say it outside of that safe space where it can get back to somebody and be hurtful to them. Because no matter what I'm feeling towards an individual, I try not to be malicious in anything I say to them, because again, words are spells and they come back at you at some point. So like I said, I may say it in, oh, there's no may, I will say it in my safe space, but yeah, I won't say it to them, because again, words hurt, and I've learned over the years with raising children in different relationships that you can't take it back. Those words, once they're out there in that atmosphere and that person hears them, you can't take them back. So using your words properly and being thoughtful in the words that you say is really important. One thing I did not do, and I've grown immensely that I don't do it now. Once upon a time, maybe probably 10, 15 years ago, this might have been a yes, I would do it, but now I don't. What I'm talking about is questioning my worth because someone else questioned it first. Um, that's something I don't do. I know my worth, okay? And I work very hard to stand on the ground that I walk on to know that I am a powerful source and I am a force to be reckoned with. So that is not a question with me, as far as that, because to be honest, that person, we play on two different fields, and we definitely drive in two different lanes. And honestly, she could never drive in my lane. I'm just saying. So questioning my worth is something I don't do anymore. But um I can see how that can be a challenge for people who are in the beginning healing stages of their journey in life and becoming. I am still healing, but my wounds are scabbed over, right? So my wounds are scabbed over, so to the point where I can see them like, yep, they're there, but they don't hurt me. They're not bleeding, and they got a nice covering over them. So um I don't question my worth, but there are still people, again, like I said, it's in the beginning, and they may be questioning their worth because of something, that interaction. Um, and that's, again, that could be a trigger, and that's a healing space, a sore spot for that individual. It's a tender area, right? In that healing. So there is that. So that it may look like that for you. Um, Becoming defensive instead of curious is another way of well, it's another look that it can look like for you. And when I talk about becoming defensive, again, if I was not in a healing space, an advanced healing space, in an advanced healing stage as I am, that could have been very defensive, and I could have lashed out. I could have walked away and not come back. It could have been very ugly if I was in that beginning stages of healing. The stage I'm in right now, I didn't get defensive outrightly. I got defensive again in my safe space. But if I was not healed, that defensiveness would have been outward and everybody would have known it. So for me, it looked more like defensiveness with a little bit of curiosity. Here's the thing: defensiveness, because, yeah, how dare you um, allow, put me in a space be, to allow that part of me come out? How dare you, right? And then I got curious. It's like, okay, so she's not happy in their life, right? So maybe that's it. So then I got a little curious, like, well, what's going on in their life? They're not happy. They're not, or whatever. Or maybe it just looks like pretending everything is okay when it isn't. Because I have done that too. I have pretended that everything was hunky dory, and it's like, yeah, it really isn't. Mm-mm, no. So it can look that way as well. But I want you to take a moment, um, if not today, at some point, and just ask yourself, what situations constantly challenge the person that you're trying to become? So for me, what situations are constantly challenging me um, in this stage of becoming, right? And for me, I'm just going to say that it's, I think, like I said, this situation happened um, because I needed to reevaluate, because I think I got comfortable. Hmm, that's it. I think it was to the point where I was comfortable where I am, and I needed. I think the universe, God said, let's shake this up a little bit. Let's see how healed you really are. Maybe. I could be just over analyzing that a little bit. Who knows? But there's that. And I'm not constantly challenged. This was the first challenge in a while. So maybe that was it too. Maybe I was overdue for a check to see where I am in things and how my reactions would be to such certain situations. Maybe it's that. So and again, that's me in my reflection. That's me analyzing these pieces. So maybe that's it. Maybe what situations constantly challenge you. I don't have many situations that constantly challenge me, but this one was my first challenge in a very long time. So maybe I was just overdue for someone to throw a monkey wrench and challenge me. Hmm, maybe. Mm-hmm. Because when we look at it, those moments are invitations, right? Not invitations to shame yourself, but invitations to know yourself better, to be better. So maybe that's the way I need to look at it, right? Maybe this situation happened to challenge me so that I can further grow because, oh, it just hit me. This challenge from this individual came because it's preparing me for something that's going to really grind my gears and challenge me later. So it's an invitation to know myself better, to know areas and where I need to work on. And look at that. Oh my goodness, it just hit me just like that. So thank you. Thank you for bringing that out. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes. So it's preparing me for battle somewhere. Oh my goodness, I'm going to be battling something soon. Wow. Okay, so thank you. Oh man, when you talk about release, thank you to that person because you just strengthened my armor. Hmm. Yes, you just strengthened my armor. Now I see where the weakness is in my armor. Now I'm going to go and fix it. Yes, I am going to fix my barrier. Thank you. So thank you. So there is my release of that. I ain't mad at it no more. No, thank you. Thank you for showing me where the weakness is in my armor. I got you. All right. So this is so that is one. Listen here, y'all. We just experienced that together because it just literally hit me on what that was about. Um. Yes, yes. So thank you. Coming back home, one thing I've learned um, when now that I'm coming back completely to myself, which is my home, my homeostasis, my center. One thing I've learned, and I'm continuing to learning, that my character isn't lost. And again, like I said, it's still part of you. This is part of your character, is a part of your just a part of you that you no longer want to share with others or need to share. That's just what it is, right? So one thing I've learned is your character isn't lost. So when someone takes you out of your character, it's not lost. Sometimes we just bury it beneath exhaustion, grief, right? Exhaustion takes us. If we have grieving moments in our life, grief overtakes us. If we're in a situation that is unknown, that is challenging us, fear takes us. Disappointment, right? If you're navigating changes in your body or a physical or mental pain is there, right? So it's your character isn't lost, it's just buried beneath all of this, but it's still there. So coming back to yourself, it may look like what I just did. Work it all through reflection. And it's like, epiphany. This is telling me I need to get my shield up. I need to put my armor back on, or not just put it on. Maybe there's a hole in my armor that I need to mend, right? It could look like that. And that's what it looks like for me right now. Like I just had a aha. I feel so much lighter because this whole thing was like weighing on me. Now, man, listen, she could be in my space right now, and I'd be like, "Yo, what's up? How you doing, deuces?" Yeah, I'm not gonna let you steal my joy, right? Um, but it could also look like maybe it's so deep that you may need therapy, and therapy is okay. Listen, I'm overdue for checking in with my therapist, and I'm not ashamed to say it. Sometimes she'll check in and it's like, "Hey, you good? Because I haven't heard from you in a few months." So sometimes it looks like checking in and is just getting some therapy. Sometimes it's prayer, and yes, I've done that and do that very often. I pray, I meditate. I'm not the best at journaling. I do because my hands hurt. God love this menopausal stage of me, but everything tends to hurt every now and again. So journaling, it can look like me dictating a lot. So I try not to, I try to write as much as I can, but it could look like journaling. Um, the other thing that I do is taking a walk. So I actually do a walking prayer meditation in the morning so that it can look like that. And I play my megahertz sounds, either 888 or 1111, depending on how I feel and how deep it is. I have that playing with me while I'm doing my prayer walk, meditation walk in the mornings. It could look like calling someone who reminds you who you are. Um, that will actually be my husband. He puts me back in that space. Um, my brother puts me back in that space. I love him for that as well. And so it could definitely look like that. Um, it can also look like just sitting quietly long enough to hear your own voice again, telling you, "Hey, why are you allowing that person to just bring you there? What's going on with you?" Right? And I had that conversation with me. What's going on with you? Why you getting raw like that? When I tell you I was ready to take my earrings off and just go to battle. That's how I was feeling. But like I said, again, having this conversation now with you all, I'm further processing it in that reflection, and it's like, what was going on with me that I weakened my shield to allow that to come out? And for me, I know I was tired. I was done. I had just that Monday came back, flew back from Columbus filming, and then now I had work, 9 to 5 work, and then after work I had all these events um to boot. So I know I was spent. I was exhausted mentally and physically. So I think for me, in continued reflection, that was it. Um, and sitting quietly with myself in that space and hearing my own voice again. I know that was it, right? So healing isn't pretending you never lose your temper. Let me just say that. I think that's one thing too that gets lost, that people think if you're healed, nothing bothers you, everything is rosy and you're always happy and you got this perpetual good that's going on. Hell no. Okay? Healing isn't pretending you never lose your temper. I be damned. Yeah, I lose my temper. Um, some of it is due to this hormonal shift, but otherwise, yeah, I do lose my temper. So healing isn't pretending you never lose your temper. Okay, let me just say that. Healing is recognizing it sooner, right, rather than later. That's part of healing. Like having this conversation again is recognizing it, that hey, you got out of character, Chica. What's happening with you? What's going on with you? Let's do a survey on you from head to toe. What's happening that you allow this to even take up space in your being, in your temple? How did you let this take up space in your temple? Mm-mm, right? So where we are right now, and for myself, and as you do your survey, healing is making repairs. So right now we're making repairs. I'm repairing my armor, that shield. I'm patching up that hole that allowed this to happen. Healing is making repairs. And healing is choosing to do differently next time, right? And what did I say? Next time, because I know, because I do a lot of community events, I'm going to encounter this person again. What am I going to do differently, right? And I'm going to say I am just the person I am. I can make it seem as though there is no animosity towards the other person, because nobody else needs to know that I have a disdain for this individual. Nobody needs to know that. All right. There's a small group of people that know I have a disdain for this individual, and that's all that needs to know. And when I say a small group, I can count on one hand each person, literally just one hand. How many people know I have disdain for this individual? No one else needs to know, right? And that's just the way it looks like for me. So, that's that healing piece, right? Coming back home. Is what I like to call it. Call it back, coming back home, coming back to your homeostasis, right? Um, yeah. So in reflection, I really want to leave you with this question. And you can write it down. I know we started journaling last season, writing in your journaling. I don't know why I'm having a hard time saying that word, but I want you I want to leave you with the question. Um, who are you when no one is testing your patience? Who are you when no one is testing your patience? Okay. I'm a peaceful person. I'm in my zen. I'm in my own little creative world, pittering around the world, doing what I need to do, what I want to do. And I'm loving the space that I'm in. That's who I am when no one is testing my patience. I'm good morning, I'm amazing, I'm good afternoon, what to do lunch. That's me when no one is testing my patience. Okay. Who are you when no one is questioning your worth? I am a boss. Are you kidding me? I am strong. I am everything. I am enough when I walk in a door. Okay. So who are you when no one is questioning your worth? I am a force to be reckoned with. Okay. So who are you when no one is questioning your worth? And my other, I got, I'm sorry, I'm a little nasally. My allergies are acting up. Um, who are you? The other one, there's a couple of them. I think there's two more I think I have in my head. Who are you? I like this one. Yeah. Who are you when the room is quiet? Hmm. Who are you when the room is quiet? I am just this little girl when the room is quiet. Okay, I really am. I'm just a silly little girl and the room is quiet, painting my little heart out. That's who I am when the room is quiet. Okay, because that's where your character lives, in those spaces. All right, that's where your character lives, not in the chaos of the world, not in the chaos of someone else's poor judgment and poor energy. It lives in those spaces when you are patient, when no one is testing your patience, when no one is questioning your worth, when the room is quiet. That's where your character lives. But in the choices you make, that's when you're grounded. That's when you're grounded. So, In the Soulful Eclectic way, we have a reflection exercise on top of what we just talked about, right? So this week, I want you to spend a few minutes reflecting on these questions. All right, just a few minutes. Don't, you could write them in your journal, whatever you need to do. Take a few minutes and reflect on these questions. What situations or people tend to bring out a version of me that doesn't align with my values? Okay. So, what situations or people tend to bring out a version of me that doesn't align with my values? And that may also need to take a moment to really analyze and reflect on what your values actually are and the stage that you are in at this moment. Because your values change as you age, as you change stages, as you grow, your values will change. So, in this respect of where you are now, asking yourself this question, maybe you may need to take a look at your values first before answering the question. Just a thought. Your second question is, what emotions usually show up first? Is it anger? Is it disappointment? Is it fear? Maybe shame? Or maybe something else that you can come up with. All right. So what emotions usually show up first? Anger, disappointment, fear, shame. All right. The third question is, how do I want to respond the next time I'm faced with a similar situation? I think I told you a little bit of how I would respond in the event that I am in a situation as such. I think it was a situation that happened that to prepare me for something that is coming down the line. So I needed to strengthen my armor. So therefore, now I am in that reflection of thinking of how am I going to reflect the next or respond the next time I'm in a similar situation. Question 4. What boundaries Yes, what boundaries could help me protect my peace before I reach my breaking point? So think about your boundaries, right? And what about those boundaries could help protect you and protect your peace before you reach that breaking point? Whatever it may look like. Walking away, changing the conversation, whatever it may be, right? And then the last question, what is one act of grace I can extend to myself this week? Yes. What is one act of grace that I can extend to myself this week? And for me, it's just being patient, right? Yeah, it's just being patient. So I'm going to take this moment to also give you my weekly affirmations, right? So this week's affirmation, after having that heavy conversation we just had, is I am not defined by my hardest moments. You can repeat it with me. I am not defined by my hardest moments. I choose awareness over reaction. I choose awareness over reaction. I choose growth over guilt. Don't guilt yourself. This is you growing. This is you healing. So I choose growth over guilt. I honor my values even when life challenges them, right? I honor my values even when life challenges them. Every day, I become more aligned with who I was created to be. Every day, I become more in line with who I was created to be. Ashe, ashe. Blessed be. Yes. Oh, love it. Um, in closing, I just want to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm not going to keep going because, like I said, I'm in the healing stage and I'm not going to let this take up any more space. So, thank you for taking the time with me to reflect. I thank you. I mean, y'all don't know how much y'all helped me because I was like, it was like that. You saw it. I was like, oh, this is for me to do a check in, systems check. So, thank you for spending this time with me. Definitely, definitely. If anything in today's conversation resonated with you, um, and you felt it gave you some value, I encourage you to share it with someone. I'm on YouTube. I'm on all the podcast streaming platforms. I'm on WUBI Ubiquity Radio. If you haven't done so yet, please download the app on Apple or Google Play. I'm also live on WUBI Ubiquity TV, which is currently only on Roku. Once it becomes on Amazon, I will definitely share it with you guys, right? So I encourage you to share it, like the episode, ring that bell, subscribe. Somebody asked me, do I take donations? Yes, I do take donations. So if you want to donate to the page, definitely do that. I don't charge you guys to be on the page. So here we are. But I encourage you to share it with someone who may be navigating their own journey of self-discovery, of being their authentic self, or maybe they had this kind of challenging interaction. Like I said, I'm not going to go into great detail about it, but it was a challenging interaction of itself. So maybe they had their own that they're dealing with. But remember, people may test your patience. Life definitely will test your resilience, but no circumstance has the power to define your character unless you allow it. None, no circumstance, right? So you always have the opportunity to do the favorite thing that I love to do, and that is pause. You always have the opportunity to pause. You have the opportunity to reflect. You have the opportunity to repair and return to yourself. Okay. I am none other than Dr. Diana Collins, and this is the Soulful Eclectic. So until next time, take care of your mind, protect your peace, lead with passion and compassion, and please never stop becoming. All right. And one more thing, do not give from your cup. What everyone else gets is your overflow, not what's in your cup. So take care of yourself and each other. Namaste.